Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 22, text number 4. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Pungsam Shlagya. Oh, actually it's one word, but it's written with a hyphen. Shlagyatamam Manye Dandam Arhatama Arpitam Yam Na Mata Pita Bhrata Suhridaha Cha Adishanti Hi Pungsang Shlagyatamang Manye Dandam Ahartamarpitam Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi Pungsang Shlagyatamang Manye Dandang Ahartamarpitam Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi. Here, table. Dandam Arhatamarpitam. The book stand. Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi. Pungsang Shlagyatamang Manye Dandam Arhatamarpitam Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi. Pungsang Shlagyatamang Manye Dandam Arhatamarpitam Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi. Pungsam Shlagyatamang Manye Dandam Arhatamarpitam Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi. Yang Namata Pita Bhrata Suhridaschadishantihi. Pungsang Shlagyatamang Manye Dandam arhatam arpitam. Yang namata pita bhrata. Nidaschadi shantihi. Ladies. Pungsang shlagyatamang manye. Dandam arhatamarpitam. Yang namata pita bhrata. Suhridaschadi shantihi. Pungsam of men. Shlagyatamam, the most exalted. Manye, I consider. Dandam, punishment. Arhatama, arpitam, given by you, the Supreme Worshipable Lord. Yam, which, neither, mata, mother, pita, father, bhrata, brother, suhridaha, friends, cha, also, adishanti, offer, he, indeed. Any book stand, or I have to hold this for 45 minutes? Translation. Although a father, mother, brother, or friend may sometimes punish one as a well-wisher, they never punish their subordinate like this. But because you are the most worshipable Lord, I regard the punishment you have given me as most exalted. Purport. Punishment meted out by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accepted by the devotee as the greatest mercy. Tatenu kampang susamikshamano bunjana evatma kritang vipakam ridvagvapubhir vidadhan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bhak. One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words and body, and who always offers obeisances to you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Text 14. Chapter 14, Text 8. A devotee knows that so-called punishment by the Supreme Personality of Godhead is only his favor to correct his devotee and bring him to the right path. Therefore, the punishment awarded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be compared to even the greatest benefit awarded by one's material father, mother, brother, or friend. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Shreshtham Manam Api Satchiputra Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagajamurparing Matarim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natasmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagarna Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vidanscha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bali Maharaj is being well and truly punished. Kritam vipakam. He may think that I'm being punished due to my past wrong deeds. And Shukracharya may think that, yep, I told you, don't give land away to this boy. I told you. Now you're getting the result. I'm your guru. I know what's what. One thing, practical advice I gave, you didn't follow. And the very fact of not following your guru means you're subject to punishment by the laws of karma. So there you go. Of course, Bali Maharaj is not being punished by the laws of karma. He's being punished by Vishnu directly, which is not a punishment at all. It's all completely transcendental. This is beyond the understanding of people like Shukracharya, who are on the platform of considering everything in terms of karma, cause and effect. That's very exalted compared to the position of most people in the world today who don't think very much about anything except sense gratification. Not even on the platform of understanding karma are they philosophical. They may think in terms of science, what they call science. That's also concerned with hetu madbhya vinischitai, the cause and effect, but it denies the transcendental effect. So, Bali Maharaj thinks that in his humiliation, this is shlagyatamam, the most exalted. Shlagya means, any of our Sanskrit students here? Praise, yeah. So this is the most praiseworthy, actually. Although he's not saying I'm praiseworthy, Bali Maharaj isn't saying I'm praiseworthy, but he's saying to Vishnu, this is the most praiseworthy. And he's contrasting, this punishment you're giving me is the most, you're to be praised for this. He also states that, Bali Maharaj states that, no well-wisher would do this. No father punishes his son, but not like this. Doesn't destroy him. It's for Bali Maharaj, the situation was one of humiliation, which is maranadati richyate. It's worse than death for a kshatriya. So who would do that? The father punishes the son to recognize him, to rectify him, not to destroy him. The mother may punish the son. Similarly, father, mother, brother, friend, suhrida. The word is given here, suhrida, means a real friend, one who has really got your interest at heart, not a passing friend or acquaintance, but who really desires the best for you. And Lord Krishna declares himself as Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. I am the well-wishing friend of all living beings, and especially of his devotees. Bali Maharaj is a devotee, so we think someone who likes me, they'll make me happy. So that's what Bali Maharaj has understood, that Vamanadev had come and given Bali Maharaj Bhagavad Gita without Bhagavad Gita. What on earth am I talking about? Because Bhagavad Gita runs to Sarvadhaman parityaja mam ekam sharanang vraja. But to give up everything and surrender to me. And Krishna went through so much discussion with Arjuna, making him understand so many things. But with Bali, there was no philosophical discussion. Just he didn't even ask Bali to give everything up. He just took everything away. He did take permission, but he was cheating like that also. Apparently cheating. So in this way, he brought him to the position immediately. And Bali Maharaj had the good sense to understand what is going on, which still Shukracharya, no one else understands. Only here, only Vamana and Bali could understand what was going on. No one else understood. They saw it from an external side. The demons thought, oh, we lost everything. What happened? They wanted to respect their king, but at the same time, they must have been thinking, what a stupid thing to do. All this trouble, we conquered over all the heavenly planets and crowned him as the king, and just against all good advice, against all common sense, he just went and gave it all away to our enemy. And now look at his position. But Bali Maharaj is thinking, oh, this is very good, because he understands that the punishment of Vishnu is better than anything material. His praising, his humiliating, his exalting to a high post or degrading to a low post, it's all transcendental. It's all for the benefit of others. It's everything he does. Damanam madhuram, Vallabhacharya says about Krishna, that even when he punishes others, when he suppresses them, it's all very sweet. Now Bali Maharaj appears to be degraded, and Sambhavitasya cha kirtir maranadati richate. For one who's been honored, dishonor is worse than death. Bali Maharaj, he was in such a glorious position. He was in a more glorious position than Indra, because Indra had only conquered the heavenly planets, and the lower planets were under Bali Maharaj. But Bali Maharaj had the lower planets, and now he had the upper planets also. So he's doing better than Indra. He was glorified by all the personalities in the universe. His position was unassailable. If Indra can't do anything to you, then who else is going to do anything to you? He's in a glorious position. But the magnificent Bali Maharaj was now tied up like a common thief. You promised to give me something, you didn't give it. Therefore, it's like being a thief. If you steal someone's property, you're a thief. If you promise to give something to someone and you don't, then you're also just like a thief. So it was his most glorious moment. For a king, when he's performing a yajna and giving liberally in charity, it's a show of his opulence. And he said to Vamana, what do you want? I can give you a whole planetary system, 3 steps. This poor boy, supposed to be a Brahmin, but he doesn't have any brain. Just wants 3 steps. And look at his steps. He's just a small boy. Oh, I can give you a whole planetary system if you want. It's a foolish boy. So he's showing his superiority. I can give you. What do you want? I can give it. And the Brahmins come to him asking for something. So Vamana had come, although the Brahmanas are always to be respected by the other orders, practically when they come to a Kshatriya and ask for something, they put themselves in an, at least superficially, inferior position. Although the Kshatriya is supposed to think, I am benefiting myself by giving. And the Brahmana thinks, I'm benefiting them by giving, not that I'm benefited. That's what you're supposed to think. But practically they're in need of something, and the Kshatriya gives. So it's his most glorious moment when all the people are the whole dignitaries of all the kingdom, and not only the dignitaries, all the members of the four orders are assembled. Shudras also have to come to big public sacrifice. There's a lot of work to do, erecting pavilions and carrying things, so many things. So he was in his full glory and just lost everything, tied up, insulted. And this is Bali Maharaj's actually most magnificent moment, where he lost all his worldly magnificence and just like that, on the spot, surrendered to Vishnu and is tied up by Vishnu or tied up on the desire of Vishnu and fully equipoised. This real sthita pragya. He's not disturbed in his mind at all that he's in such an apparently degraded position. He lost everything. He don't know what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next? He's going to be sent into hell. Yeah, that's actually what happened. That's what they call it anyway. He went to the lower planets. But he's completely understood. He thinks, great, wonderful. This is what I really want to do. It's what I really want to do, is to surrender to Vishnu. And now he did it. And we are glorifying Bali Maharaj because he has done this. There are so many kings who conquer over different lands. They're glorified for some time, and then they're forgotten. Their names may come in a list of bards who say their name in the morning when a king rises, or before he rises. The people come and praise him. The suttas, bhagathas, they come and praise him and they recite the names of his dynasty. So many great kings in your dynasty. So the kings, they may be remembered by name only, exactly what they did. Just even here in the Bhagavatam, we have so many lists of kings whose names are given, but not all of the deeds of them are described. Kings, they regularly maintain poets who make poems about their glorious deeds, and they have to do some glorious deeds. The least they can do is give some charity, protect the brahmanas. They have to do something for the poets to praise them. But most of those praises will be forgotten in due course of time. And some kings remain very famous for a relatively longer period of time. Here in South India, the Tipu Sultan, and glorious or not glorious, the name is remembered. Little further north, Shivaji, the name is remembered. They were not, actually neither of them were Kshatriyas by caste, but they're remembered for their extraordinary deeds. But how long ago did Bali Maharaj appear? Someone can sit down and try and work it out. It can be done, but it's beyond our imagination how long ago he appeared. But still he's being glorified, not specifically because he conquered the heavenly planets, but because he gave it all up. Renunciation is a great quality. If one can be detached, one of the qualities of the Supreme Lord, Aishvaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasya, Shriyaha, Jnana, Vairagya, Yoshaiva Shandang Bhaga Itingate. The Supreme Lord is detached apart from having everything, he's not attached to anything. That is, of course, most graphically demonstrated in Lord Rama being told, tomorrow you will be crowned crown prince, heir to you'll be formally installed as crown prince. Okay, very good. Next, no, you won't be the prince. You won't be the heir to the throne. You have to go to the forest for 14 years. Okay. Perfectly detached. Actually, the Shukracharya is supposed to teach this. If he's an actual guru, he's supposed to teach this. But Shukra should have actually taken Bali Maharaj as his guru. Shukra was the guru who gave the means to Bali Maharaj to become so powerful that he could conquer the heavenly planets. But Shukra couldn't conquer his own mind. Well, that's the real conquering. More glorious than Shivaji and so many are the sadhus who lived at the same time are unknown who conquered the mind. There must have been some. There were so many, always been so many sadhus in the history of India. But Shukra hadn't conquered his mind. We find that he became very disturbed when Bali Maharaj pressed on with his determination to give everything away. Sarvasvam Vishnave Datva Murkam Katam, what is that? Mudho Katam Vatishyate. How you fool, how will you live if you give everything away? And he's thinking, how will I live too? I'm dependent on him. He became afraid. And what will people say to me? You couldn't instruct your disciple properly. But Bali Maharaj was completely fixed in truthfulness. Fixed in truthfulness means he knew the ultimate truth. Vishnu is supreme. I am his servant. I have to serve him. He was completely fixed in that understanding. He didn't deviate from it. That took a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to be truthful, doesn't it? Especially when you do something wrong, we all try to make some excuses. I was driving the car and something happened, and therefore it crashed. What happened? You fell asleep, or you were looking at your phone. But you make some excuse, the tire burst or something like that. It's hard to be honest. And especially at the present time, we see that due to the influence of various variants of what would traditionally be called Advaitavad, that truth is widely considered to be what you want it to be. What I believe. Opinion. That becomes the truth. Just like this poison theory. Debunked. Upside down, inside out, back to front. 100%, and well, I still believe in it. Right, well, I want to. Everyone has the right to believe whatever they want to believe. You just believe whatever you like, and it becomes the opinions. We should respect all opinions. Why? If someone's talking nonsense, why should you respect their opinion? Then you become a fool like them. So Bali Maharaj knew the truth, and he stuck with it. Even though he knew it would get him in a lot of trouble. That's one reason we don't like to say the truth, because it will get us in a lot of trouble. It can be. There's in the folklore of America. I don't. There are no Americans here who could tell us. There's something like this. It goes like this. George Washington as a child. I think it was George Washington. It might have been one of those. George Washington, who was I believe he was the first president of the United States. In America, if you don't know these things, you're considered a real idiot. But I'm not from America. I have an excuse. So I believe he was the first president of the United States of America. And apparently, so the story goes, in his childhood, he chopped down a tree as a prank, something like this. And his father asked him, "Who chopped down that tree?" suspecting that his son George had done so. And George says, "I cannot tell a lie, I did it." So he told the truth. And then his father may have punished him for doing something which he shouldn't have done. But I cannot tell a lie. This was the point. First of all, you do something wrong, and but I cannot tell a lie. So he was stuck to the truth, even though it brought him, it was liable to bring him bad consequences. So we're like that. We even if we suspect something is wrong, we'll go along with it because we don't want to take the consequences of not going along with it. That is a psychology which is exploited by politicians, social politicians. For instance, if there's the story coming again to Western folklore, the emperor's new clothes. The story by Hans Christian Andersen, if I remember properly. It may be an old folk story that some cheaters, they knew that the king, the emperor, sometimes they give a big title, emperor, someone, he's overseeing 3 villages or something. They used to call, I don't know here, but in Bengal they used to call Raja for someone who is the head of the village head. They used to call him the Raja. He's not a Raja in the real sense of the term. So they may call an emperor. But some cheaters from another place, they understood he's a fool. He's a vain fool. Vain, do you know what that word means? It means he's very much enamored by his own non-existent greatness. And he thinks he's very good looking, a connoisseur of fashion, and all this, very cultured, very civilized. So these people, they came and said that, well, we have this special thread which we make beautiful clothes from. But the specialty of this thread is that anyone who is a fool can't see it. And then they brought it out and see, what beautiful thread. And everyone said, yes, it's beautiful. There was nothing there. But no one wanted to say, I can't see it. And then they said, so because you're the emperor, we'd like to make some clothes for you. And it'll cost you so much money. Give us so much money and we'll make the clothes. So they made the clothes. Every day they were sitting and weaving and showing every day in the court, look how beautiful it is. And everyone would say, yes, very beautiful. And no, there's nothing there. And then on the final day they said, now the clothes are finished, so you should go in public and show all the people what beautiful clothes they are. So they dressed the king very nicely, and everyone's saying, oh, magnificent clothes, we never saw such clothes. And then the king went in public, completely naked, and everyone was saying, yes, such wonderful clothes, because they didn't want to think, if you can't see it, you're a fool. And then one child stands up and says, he's got no clothes on. And in the meantime, the tailors had decamped with all the gold they'd taken for making the clothes and showed that he's an actual fool. Now, this is a well-known story, not just because it's humorous, but because it demonstrates an important feature of social psychology. That people, they don't want to be seen as foolish or wrong. And therefore, all kinds of wrong ideas can be propagated, and people go along with it rather than saying that, rather than having the courage like Bali Maharaj did to say, no, I'm going to stick with what I understand to be the truth, what actually is the truth. There's so many examples. I'll give one from my own life, that one god sister of mine helped to edit my book, Women Masters or Mothers. And so I put her name as in the acknowledgements, and she wrote to me and said, please, if you reprint it, take my name out. Because she was being harassed by others who didn't like the contents of that book, even though none of them had read it. So she agreed to edit the book. She didn't take any money for it. I don't give money for editing anyway. Because she understood this is correct according to the teachings of Prabhupada. But then she came under pressure from others, and she didn't want the pressure from others. So I removed it. That's just one example, but the whole movement, social movements go on this, on promoting nonsense, because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. There was some survey among psychology professors in America. What are your priorities in teaching? And there was a list of 5. One is to increase people's knowledge. Obviously, teaching is meant for that. To present the truth. And then there was 2. Then another one was to not to hurt the feelings of the students. And many of them put that the most important thing is not them to hurt the feelings of the students. So you don't tell them that more important than giving them real knowledge and giving them the truth is to make them feel nice. To cater to their, to enhance the emotional well-being of the students. And they've decided what emotional well-being means. They feel nice when we say that. Oh, everyone's all the same and everything's nice and everything's good, and don't criticize anyone except if they teach the truth, because the truth is not always nice. And they say this is good for their emotional well-being. But real emotional being would be if you teach them to know what is the truth, live by the truth, and be strong enough to stand for the truth, even if people go against you. Not that you just feel nice. What is the use of such emotional well-being? So Bali Maharaj, he was a pure devotee, and he stood up for the truth, even though it went against everything that everyone around him believed in. They all believed, beginning with his guru, that material advancement is proper. And from the external point of view, even Vamana believed that. Well, he didn't want great material advancement, he wanted some land. He needed some land. He didn't want the whole universe, but he wanted some land, even though it was only 3 steps measured by his own paces. So Bali Maharaj, he stuck to that. And in this way, he became most glorious, his most glorious moment. When in the eyes of everyone, it seemed that it was his most inglorious moment. It was actually his most glorious moment. And for that reason, we still glorify him. If he had refused Vamana, then he wouldn't have been glorified. He would have been just the opposite. Because he knew in his family, actually his father was so glorious that he fulfilled his promise. Virochana was a demon. Bali was also a demon superficially, but Virochana was a demon not only in name but in deed also. But still he had that sense of honor. It's like Karna, Datta Karna. Karna is famous for giving charity. So Virochana also, when he was approached by Indra, there are different stories of how Virochana died in different Puranas. One of them is that Indra went in the guise of a Brahmana and said, "O king, I want some charity from you." "Yes, what do you want?" "Whatever you want, I'll give you. Give me your head." So, okay, chopped off his head. That was the end of Virochana. So he was so fixed in his promise to a Brahmana, even though Indra was just pretending to be a Brahmana, that he was willing to give it whatever he wanted. So Bali Maharaj wanted to stick to that tradition. He had the courage to do so. It takes great courage to stand up for the truth, even going against your guru. Practically going against the guru is worse than going against God. But if the guru goes against God, then he's not a Vaishnava, guru nasyat. One who is not a Vaishnava is not fit to be a guru. And Vaishnava Swapacha Guru, and even if one is not a Brahmana, he's just at not even on the opposite side of the scale. Opposite side of the scale from a Brahmana is a Shudra, but actually off the scale altogether, Swapacha. There are different kinds of persons who are not within the four groups. The Chandalas, Mlechas, Yavan, Swapacha has got to be the lowest. They cook dogs and eat them. Hare Krishna. That's really, really low. But even such a person, if a Vaishnava, is fit to be a guru. So Shukra, he was giving the wrong advice, therefore he was to be rejected. It's a very, very big thing. It's a very dangerous thing to neglect or reject the guru who's actually representing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shukra wasn't representing the Supreme Lord. One approaches a guru because one's vision is unclear. He has to learn. He has to follow orders. Bali Maharaj expected everyone to follow his orders, and his guru expected Bali Maharaj to follow his orders. So it was a very dangerous precedent. If Bali didn't follow the orders of his guru, then everyone else may think, then why should we follow Bali? Just like in this Ritvik concoction. They don't want to follow the GBC or the authority structure. Just it's me and Prabhupada, and then there's so many splinter groups come out of that. Because originally they say, yeah, we're following Prabhupada, and then you follow me. And you say, well, I'm also following Prabhupada, so why should I follow you? Why there's no one in between, it's just me and Prabhupada. So it's a very convenient philosophy. And you can, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, yes, I agree what Prabhupada says, but my own guru, forget it. If he doesn't say what I don't like, if he doesn't say what I likes, then just forget it. Offer him all respect, ask for blessings, and don't give a damn what he says or does, or what he tells me to do. So, it's a very convenient philosophy, but one is supposed to follow a guru as long as he instructs one in the service of Vishnu, Krishna. One may think, well, I've got my own idea better how to follow. But that's not accepted by Krishna. The Krishna makes this system. So it's a very dangerous thing to do for Bali, but he felt, no, it's very dangerous in this situation for me to fail to follow Vishnu. For me to follow Shukra in this situation would be very dangerous. So Bali Maharaj, he became glorious in this way. He was willing to accept all difficulty. His guru gave him instruction how he could avoid all difficulty. You just do what I say, I'll give you, okay, you gave your word, but I'll give you a way how you can get out of it. So at this point, Bali could have said, okay, all right, you're right, I made a mistake. All right, now what do I do? Just like Dasharath, he could have said, Kaikeyi, whatever you say, I agree. Whatever you say, it doesn't matter what it is. Because he couldn't imagine what she would say. Then after she said, banish Ram to the forest for 14 years. Don't laugh. No one's laughing. And make Bharat the king. Then Dasharath, she said, you promised? You have to do? Dasharath was caught. But he could have said, well, I also gave my word to Ram to make him the king, so now I'm in a quandary. So let me discuss with Vasishta and the Brahmanas what to do in this situation, because either way, it's a dharma. He could have done, but he didn't. He didn't consult his guru. He got in a mess. Of course, it's all ordained by the internal potency of the Lord. But in this case, Bali Maharaj, who is he going to consult? If he has his guru, apparently acting for his benefit, he understood this is not for my benefit, because actually the real guru, the one who was giving him spiritual knowledge was Prahlad Maharaj. He understood he'd heard from Prahlad Maharaj what is the actual situation. So Bali, this name, it means sacrificial offering. Right? The Balidan. That's stopped in most places in India now. They take the goats and cut them before Kali or Bhairav. Now they stop that. It's very inhumane. You shouldn't do it. We have a slaughterhouse instead. When you got a slaughterhouse, what do you need to offer goats to Kali for? It's cruel. Slaughterhouse isn't cruel, but slaughtering goats and offering to Kali, that's very cruel. So they stopped all this now. And there's no need for religious killing of animals when we can do it irreligiously. It's everywhere. It's going on like that. So the name Bali means an offering of an animal. It can be Nara Bali also, human sacrifice. So he gave himself as a sacrifice, that everything I have, my very life, manasa, deho, geho, jokichuma, my mind, very difficult to give the mind, but very difficult to give the body. If you give the mind, then you have to give the body also. You should be prepared to. If we give the mind, then the body follows. We do with our body what Krishna wants us to do. Everything. We have given. Actually, we sing these songs, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. Are we really qualified to sing? But at least we're singing that this is my actually with Guru there should be no whether I follow or not follow. That's the way to come to the perfectional stage where we can actually sing with full sincerity. Manasa deho geho jokichuma apiluntu apade nandikisha. Now I've surrendered everything at your lotus feet, Krishna. My mind, my body, my home, everything. We're not actually on that platform, but by Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, by following the orders of Guru, by engaging in sadhana. We may think that, well, yeah, sadhana, yeah, it's there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it's there in the beginner's guide for Krishna consciousness, I'll just follow all that. And What do you need a guru for? Yeah, guru, yeah. Offer some arati, this and that. But by following, that is the way by which we can be purified. It brings it from the theoretical to the practical platform. We may sing songs, how I'm fully surrendered, but then we see the test. And some follow it very nicely. And some fail miserably when the test comes. So those who are following nicely, they get the full mercy. Those who are not, they're in trouble. They may think, yeah, I can chant, I can do what I like. I have my own plans. See, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I have my own plans, what I'm doing, but according to the transcendental system, they're in trouble. So Bali Maharaj appeared to be in trouble, but he's not in trouble. He's in the most glorious position by offering himself fully to Krishna. He is the exemplar of Atmaniveda, fully giving oneself to Krishna. We are hearing about him so that we can also imbibe that spirit. Hare Krishna. I'll finish there. All glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Bali Maharaj as we recall his most glorious moment. His whole life is glorious. Bali Maharaj, this chapter is titled Bali Maharaj surrenders his life. So his whole life becomes glorious by this one act. Hare Krishna. Dante nidhaya churnakang padayo nipatya kritva chaka kushatameta daham ravimi he sadava sakala eva vihaya durat Gauranga Chandra Charane Kurutanu Raga Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyastra